This morning's reading is from Psalm 96. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Tell of his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous works among all the peoples. For great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the peoples are worthless idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Let the heavens be glad, and let the earth rejoice. Let the sea roar and all that fills it. Let the field exult and everything in it. Then shall all the trees of the forest sing for joy.
By way of introduction, my first trip to Costa Rica was scheduled to take place in the summer of 2008. That's how long ago I started dreaming about spending time in this ecological paradise. My plane tickets were bought, my tour was booked, my calendar was cleared, and then, unexpectedly, my son Matt was invited to play lacrosse for England in the European Championships. A frantic reorganization of plans later found my husband Bill and I in the forests of Finland, hardly a tropical wonderland, for a week of spectating in a cold, soggy stadium. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a wonderful trip, especially as England won the championship. But Costa Rica remained an aspiration for me, even 16 years later. So it was sometime deep in the gray of February, I opened the overseas adventure travel website, my go-to company, wondering if there were any last-minute trips that looked exciting. This was not supposed to be a travel year, but then I spotted it. A 2-week tour of the national parks of Costa Rica with one space left. I was in. The trip began in Boston with an early morning flight to Panama City via Copa Airlines. And I do have to say, if you're traveling south, consider Copa Airlines. It's a new airline and it's fabulous. So their hub is Panama City. We arrived there and then a short flight to Costa Rica's capital, San Jose. Moderately paced, our itinerary included 7 locations in 16 days, with 3 long drives, which I actually enjoy. We traveled southwest to the Panamanian border, and then all the way north to the Nicaraguan border and all points in between, from sea level to 12,000 feet, with changes in climate from almost unbearable tropical heat to as low as 30 degrees in the mountains. The common denominator was rain and humidity. In case you aren't aware that I really have wild, naturally curly hair, I now have plenty of photos to prove it. On the serious side, there was much to consider as we immersed ourselves in the grandeur and biodiversity of what were really a dozen unique climate zones. And I thought, since it's summer, and even Jesus deserves a vacation, you might enjoy some of my own spiritual reflections on this precious and endangered terrain. After all, God is always in the equation. Friends, I'm also mindful that violence erupted at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania last evening, resulting in the death of one rally-goer and the serious injury of two others in what is now concluded to be an assassination attempt on the former president. And yes, I also have some words about that. Regarding my trip, I would first like to say it is a brave thing to be born in the rainforest. Now, I don't mean born as in being human. I mean born as in being a plant. One of over 12,000 unique species that call this environment home. Consider a seed dropped hundreds of feet from the tallest tree in the canopy, or carried miles on wind or water, or carted off to different environs through bird or animal waste. Inside its casing is housed a tiny survival kit. One writer describes it as a baby in a box with lunch. Also encoded within are all the instructions the plant will need to fulfill its ultimate potential. All the assets and defense mechanisms homed by centuries of adaptation to enable its survival. A seed can lie dormant for decades. Yet once the conditions are right to send forth its first pioneer root, each plant has a mere 48 hours to sprout crude buds and begin the process of photosynthesis. Consider the odds, my friends. The unique feature of planthood, you see, is this. Once it puts down roots, once it decides to try life on for size, it is forever immobilized, stuck in one place in which, based on skill, but more likely luck, it will thrive or it will die. Like I said, it is a brave thing to be born a plant in the rainforest. Knowing one's very survival is a cruel and precarious gamble. Second, I would like to say that it is a brave thing to live in the rainforest. The sheer magnitude of the environment's complexity is staggering. It almost literally takes one's breath away as all that oxygenated plant life aspirates the huge quantities of oxygen that make life on this planet possible. When we refer to the rainforest as the lungs of the world, it is actually something you can feel, even something you can hear, if you attune yourself to these sacred exhalations. Yet we have a rather romantic view of the natural world, I think. Compared to humanity, all that concentrated fertility, that immense complexity in which flora and fauna, plus 1,200 types of butterflies, 800 types of birds, and 650 types of mammals and reptiles and amphibians seem to coexist in perfect harmony. That is more myth than reality. The truth is, everything in the rainforest involves a fierce struggle for survival. From a plant's point of view, the primary battle is for light. Vines that grow downward from towering ficus trees in the canopy, seeking water from the top down. Eruptions of new growth that burst forth in pools of sunshine created by a single fallen tree. the unimaginably creative and beautiful ways plants have devised for camouflage or their own actual defense. These are downright miracles. But portraying the rainforest as a paragon of peaceful coexistence is misguided. On an individual basis, survival of the fittest definitely rules the day. That said, I would finally like to say it is a brave thing to die in the rainforest. Just as the impulse for life explodes in this spectacular, moist, overheated environment, the sheer magnitude of life is destined to involve an equal plethora of death. And it is in this sense we must look to the rainforest for inspiration. It is the next to last day of our trip. After torrential rains the night before, we have arisen early to climb 2,700 feet by jeep to explore the Sagreve Reserve in the San Gerardo de Dota Mountains, 9,000 feet above sea level. The air is thin, but the forest is thick. I've fallen back a bit from the group to catch my breath. And in that moment, a patch of sun illuminates a 12-inch square of loam near the base of an old oak. Perfect, white, bell-shaped mushrooms cling to the underside of a rock. The moss is a green so luminescent I cannot describe it. The bark of the tree is encased in a thick girdle of vegetation, climbing, growing, ever seeking the light. And I wonder, do these plants, these elements of God's creation, feel a sense of insignificance or purpose? Do they feel a sense of insignificance or purpose? Isn't that the question that consumes us as human beings? God forbid we be insignificant or without purpose. Millions upon millions of plants die every day in the Costa Rican rainforest. What animates their drive to live when birth is precarious at best, when life is a constant struggle for survival, and death a constant companion? And what is it about us as humans that renders this kind of existence inconsequential? That renders this kind of existence inconsequential. Just life for life's sake. Friends, given the events of last evening, I think it's official that things are spinning out of control in the world of American politics. As people of faith, we need to take a deep breath, the deepest kind there is, and realize once and for all that not everything is lost in the fiercest defeat, nor everything gained in the boldest victory. Not everything is lost in the fiercest defeat, and not everything is gained in the boldest victory. If that is not the message of the cross, I do not know what is. And so I'd like to close with these exquisite words by Mary Oliver. when I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines. They give off such hints of gladness, I would almost say that they save me. And daily, I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches. And they call again, "It's simple," they say. And you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine. To go easy, to be filled with light and to shine. That's our job, especially right now. Amen.